Before I my name is Jeffrey Bussman. Before I embark on anything I'm prepared to say, I really need to speak to something that you spoke into the record, Councilperson Hover, which is incorrect. And you decided to bring up what happened on Sunday outside of Goldie in Center City, and that is not accurate. And you are parroting lies that have been promulgated online and that have been disputed by people who were there in the crowd outside as well as inside the restaurant. So I would urge you to get a little bit more informed and not simply parrot what our federal elected so easily said was a case of anti-Semitism against this restaurant. It's not because Michael Solomonov is Jewish. It is because he has built his entire reputation and branding as a chef with restaurants, with cookbooks, with a documentary film on proselytizing for Israeli cuisine. That is the reason. And it is not anti-Semitic to protest his businesses for that reason. But with respect to the resolution 2023-33, it doesn't speak for me as a Lansdowne resident. The gentleman who is sitting to my left more eloquently spoke about the part, quote, peaceful coexistence and harmony, referring to what was going on in the region before October 7th. That is entirely incorrect. That is not what preceded on the ground the actions of October 7th. It was not idyllic peace throughout the region. It was something extremely grim, and your language there glosses over that. It's well documented how Palestinians are treated at best as second-class citizens in their own ancestral lands, and any of these claims of harmony in the region prior to October 7th are entirely spurious and they're laughable. Secondly, your claim, quote, violence and terrorism can never be justified as means to achieve political goals, end quote, is fraudulent, not to mention entirely ahistorical. Our own nation emerged out of armed, violent revolt, which we celebrate with an annual federal holiday. Our nation exists on land that our forebears stole from its indigenous original stewards, whom they killed with both violence and disease, swindled with unfair treaties, and then forced them into ever smaller enclosures on their own land. Our nation exists in its current form in part because of a brutal civil war fought over abolishing the enslavement of black people. Most of the rights we have as Americans were achieved in some form or other by seizing them violently and some accompanying element of bloodshed and loss of life. I condone the right to self-defense. However, at this point, Israel has far exceeded any mandate of defending itself. It's waging bloody, disproportionate offense on Gaza. And I also approve of the right of Palestinians to defend their ancestral lands, which Israel has insatiably encroached upon and stolen for decades, penning Gazans into a virtual open-air prison, restricting their access to power, water, food, medical supplies, and other basic essentials. I condone Palestinians' rights to defend their homes with armed and, if necessary, deadly force. In this country, we have Second Amendment rights, as well as stand your ground laws plus castle doctrine to codify our own similar rights to self-defense. I'll simply end by saying I vehemently disagree with Resolution 2023-33. I think it should be wholesale rescinded.